Alright, my name is Minty Jones and I welcome everyone to my Minecraft world. My Minecraft world is running on with the mod equivalent exchange at the moment. So you may see some things that you're not entirely familiar with. What I am doing at the moment is mucking around with my automated rail system, which is right here. There's a lot of parts to this. I've set this up in an effort to try and make a junction choice whenever there's a T junction ahead, so that the player can stop in the cart, change the desired direction of the track and carry on to their destination. We know that in Minecraft that to set a cart into motion whilst you're in it, it needs to be backed up against a block, preferably some kind of stone block with powered rails underneath, in order for it to be launched. So this can be a little bit harder when you're on the middle of a track. So I've designed this little one of my first redstone circuits, which is designed to automate this a little bit more and make it a little bit easier. So I might just reset this and show you how it works. So I'll just to reset it, I'll need to grab my minecart, and I'll get that alt click bug, which is the only way to get rid of is by tapping your alt button a couple of times. Okay, now that seems to be an equivalent exchange. I don't know if it's in any other mods or not. So I'm just going to put down my minecart here, hop in, and off we go. And if we look behind us, oh god. Alright, I'm going upstairs. A bit laggy here, a bit laggy. I'm there already. Alright, let's go back down and have a look at them. You might be able to see it in a bit more detail. Here we go. Alright, so you come to the end of the line here. So down at the end of this tunnel here, there's a T-junction, and we'd like to be able to choose which way we can go. There's no choice here, but let's go further up the line and see what happens. Alright, so I had a powered rail with no power there, which stopped me at this point. If we look back, we see the start where we came from, and if we look forward, there's a junction at the end there. You can just see the redstone torch. I'll just zoom in a little bit, and there's the redstone going to the junction. You can see it going around to the left. So I'm wanting to go to the right instead. This is a lever here we need to change, and if we look down the far end now, you can see the track is going to the right. Nice one. Alright, but how do we launch ourselves here? I've got launch button, but because we're not up against the block, it doesn't do anything. Now you can see I've got a sticky piston here next to the rail. So if I push this launch setup button right here, just give that a little push, and we look behind us, oh, there's a block. Fantastic. Alright, now we can set off, and if we watch behind us, the block disappears. That's pretty cool. So that means when we go back along, there's no block in our way, and we can get to our destination without a problem. Okay, now this did take quite a little bit of thought, but after watching a few videos, tutorials in redstone, I managed to work out the best way to do it. So we can see we've stopped here. I might just show you this without me being in it. Whoa. Cool. So I'll press this button. You can see everything working in the background there. I'll push this over here, yeah, and then well, I'll push this button. And of course I was standing in the way, so you didn't really get the minecart going where it was going, but you saw the stone block disappear, and the sticky piston put the track back in place. So that's the good thing about sticky pistons, they can move a track without destroying it. I did try, at one point I had a piston underneath a block pushing it up with a rail above it, which works on the way up, but on the way back down, unfortunately, it breaks. Excuse me, I'm drinking my morning coffee. Alright, so that's pretty cool. We've got one button there which launches that whole piston movement here, and we've got the one detector rail here which resets everything back to the way it was. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what's going on behind the scenes. Now the first thing you'll notice is that I've got this contraption that's been used, well, it's well documented now in the wiki and on several tutorials, but it's called a memory cell, and this basically enables you to use a button, because we know in Minecraft buttons only send a signal for, you know, a short duration before going off again, unlike a lever which you switch on and it gives a uninterrupted redstone signal. So we don't want to use a lever for the launch setup, really. I want to use a button that's a bit cleaner. So this memory cell basically takes a signal from the button and keeps it. So if you press it on, the memory cell will take the on signal, the memory cell will turn on, and the button might reset, but the memory cell keeps on going on. Okay, so the button redstone wires coming through here, so at the moment this cell here, so we've got the redstone here coming around in an L shape, another block of redstone here on an L shape, so it's a bit like a circular kind of idea, and then we've got a bit of redstone coming out of the output here powering that piston. So that piston is actually powered at the moment and has the track in place, pushed out into place. Now we want that track drawn back in order for the block to have room to move into. So you can see when this button is pressed, we've got the redstone track coming under here, under it goes, crossing under the wire to the piston, back out the other side, and attaches to this block here. When you're using a memory cell, you can attach levers and buttons, but you can only affect the block on which the redstone torch is activated. If I sent a redstone signal to this torch over here, nothing would happen. The memory cell would stay the same. So in this instance, I want to change the memory cell. I want to switch this redstone current off here, which is attached to this current along here, so we need to switch this off in order for this to be switched off as well. So when we pass a signal through to this redstone block at the back, it says here this input will switch off the piston with the rail. Okay, let's just quickly go and press the button and see that in action. I might be able to look around here whilst pressing the button. Oops, I'm stuck in the door. Sorry everybody. Alright, can I get to the button at the same time and look over there? Oh, we've just got the little torch in the left hand side there, so I'll just press this. You'll see that torch has come on. Oh, also my door's closed. Excuse me, my cat's being very loud. And now we can see that which was on before is now off, and the redstone current going to the piston is also off. Okay, so you can see the piston is retracted and pulled that rail back into the wall. Now, the other part of this is the fact that we've got this stone block here. Right there, so that's in place. That's actually using another piston on the opposite side of the wall. So let's go into the opposite side, maintenance room, and we can see here that we've got the same kind of thing. We've got a piston which has pushed that. For some reason the graphic of the piston isn't updated properly, and we can't see it pushed out, but it has pushed that piece of stone out into the correct position. And we can see that that's working because it's actually got a redstone signal going to it at the moment. Again, memory cell number 2, as it says in the wall here. This is the memory cell room for the piston block. Alright. So what we've done here, in order to make this work at the same time, I'll have to come back out here again, is we have, as I've shown you before, this redstone signal going under, crossing under the other redstone path up here. Guys, you'll have to excuse me a second, I'm going to have to rescue my cat. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. That's Otis in the background. He's a relatively new cat and he is quite naughty. Okay, as I was showing you, this redstone path goes under here, crosses under and comes back up the other side. But it also splits the signal, so we can control the piston on the other side as well with just the one button. So if we go over here, I'm just going to jump downstairs, ditching, and I'll just come around here. Hopefully this isn't too laggy for you. So we can see the redstone going across there and up again into the first memory room. But then we can see this, excuse me, this split along here, which continues further down here. I've got it running through a couple of repeaters, just to keep the signal going in the one direction. I don't want it going back the way. And yep, we can see it going through there. Eventually it runs over here and back up. There we go. And it runs up to the back of that block on the memory switch. And as it says here, this input to the memory cell switches on the piston block, which works really well. My repeaters introduce a little bit of a delay into the circuit, but it doesn't really matter for the first part. Alright, so how do we reset it? Well, as I mentioned to you before, out here we see a detector rail. Okay, now a detector rail detects when a rail cart moves over it, and it will send a redstone pulse from that detection. So you can actually place redstone beneath the block which has the detector rail on it, and it will pick up the pulse from that block. So if we go over here and we see this is the block here which is under that detector rail, which this sign clearly tells you, and basically we want to take that signal and put it two ways, because we want to reset both piston block and piston rail. So we can see then I've put a repeater here and here, facing this repeater facing that way and that one facing that way, so it carries the signals in either direction. The first one here, when we're resetting this mechanism, we want to make sure that the rail has definitely moved back into position in the wall before, we need to make sure that the block has moved back before we place the rail back. Otherwise, if there's any conflict, the rail will just not move back into place. So if it happens at exactly the same time, I find that it's not enough time, and the two pistons clash and wreck the mechanism. So what I've done here, if I come around here, I have so the extra repeater and extra delay ensure that the block has moved back with the stone on it, leaving room for the rail. So I've put a little bit of delay in that repeater. I've put the maximum delay in this repeater, so that if we follow this redstone wiring up. It comes up into the room, and it attaches to this other block in the memory cell, which we can see at the moment is activated, meaning that this piston here is not powered, but we want it to be powered. So when the detector rail is ridden over by a cart, this will get a signal up here, albeit a bit of a delayed signal, and it will switch this memory cell back on again, which will send the current through to that piston there, and hopefully with the delay the stone is moved from the other side, and this will push the rail back on track. So if we just go, we'll just follow this through, oops, wrong way, we'll just follow this through to the other side. It's a bit laggy, anyway. This is my first time doing a big record, so let's jump up here. So we can see then I've got the trail, so it says to first detector rail there, so I've got the trail of redstone coming up here, coming around here, just another repeater to ensure the flow is only one way, and you can see then this joins on to the other block that's activated at the moment, which is pushing the stone onto the rail. There you go, this wire leads to the first detector rail. It's always good to put notes, I find, up in the wall. It's a bit like when I'm coding. As long as you put notes through the code, you can at least follow what it's doing. So if I quickly go and grab my cart again, I can go out the door here. Have I got another cart on me? Oops, it's that bug again. I'm not too concerned about a bug when it's easy to fix. Tapping a key a couple of times is not a massive problem. Alright, so I'll just stick this here. I'll go back up here. I'm going to press this button, and I'm just standing in front of this so we can see it happen. There you go. Bang, bang. Back into place. Brilliant, and the minecart's going around the corner. Over to my stop. Because I'm not in it, there wasn't enough momentum to take it further, but let's just jump in. I'm sure this was... When did this become open? I thought that was a dead end. Okay. Just go back. And it goes a bit slowly, but we'll hit these powered rails, then we'll run over the detector, which will then in turn power those rails beyond that. Oh, I bounced off the cart at the end there. That's alright, that's right. I'll come back to my stop, just for one demonstration. I want to go upstairs this time, so let's just change that. Yeah, lovely. Let's just press the launch setup button. Lovely. You can see it controls that door because I've got the door next to the button, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the main operation of it. Launch button, everybody. Let's go. Yeah, we can see that rail and all coming back into place, and we'll go upstairs. Anyway guys, that's my auto rail station, I suppose you could call that. Please tune in to my next episode to look at my railway system outside of my base. Alright, thanks guys, see you next time. Minty Jones out.